Ricky.
Yes.
Did you know that support for the Social Suplex Podcast Network is brought to you by Manscaped?
I did, but do our fans know?
Well, if they don't, then they should know that these guys at manscaped.com are the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. And they offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. I know that the fans are, some might be hearing this for the first time, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, given that we were given samples of it, we were given a box courtesy of Manscaped, and I know you've used it, and I've now used it, and it was pretty damn good. No nicks, no nothing. Everything is perfect down there. Considering
you're a man who is very particular when it comes to his grooming, you'll be glad to know that Manscaped obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. I'm sure that's a mission statement close to your heart.
It is. I like to take care of myself, and Manscaped are giving me a tool in order to do that.
A tool for your tool?
A tool to take care of my tool, yes.
And what our listeners will be over the moon to hear is, if you were to get one of these at manscaped.com and put in the code SUPLEX at checkout, you'll get 20% off and free shipping of such a tool.
At the end of the day, 20% off, and the fact that the product is so damn good, and it's a no-brainer, really. It is. You don't want to be using normal razors, etc. This is designed for this purpose.
That is.
And one of the good things about it is that you can actually use it in the shower.
You can use it in the shower, you can use it in the dark, the Lawnmower 3.0. It's got a quiet stroke technology at over 7,000 revs per minute. It's like, see if you were doing some sort of top 10 or the best ever pay-per-view or something like that, this would be the main event.
Right, so forget all these design features we're telling you about. See, at the end of the day, does it do the job or you want it to do? It does it extremely fucking well, and there's no issues, there's nothing to be worried about, it might cut, etc. It's flawless. So, you can talk about the revs, you can talk about how you can do it in the shower, etc., but the bottom line is you get an awesome result out of it, and that's what you're wanting.
So, with manscaped.com, trim that junk of yours, because your balls will thank you.
As will your partner.
Or partners.
Exactly. Hopefully multiple partners, but,
Right, on to the show.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello, and thank you once again for downloading and listening to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. My name is Clive, and I'm by my... We've got a nice special episode lined up tonight, so we've brought in someone from the Social Suplex alumni, Shall Impact podcast, one half of the Eddie and Caleb's Hero Cast. There are the three best things to ever come out of Oklahoma are JR, Bill Goldberg, and a musical. But Caleb Baldwin, thanks very much for joining us tonight. It's good to have you on.
It's great to be on, man. The last time I was on, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
Man, a lot's happened since then, and I've had some GD too that I've had to, overcome since then. I mean, it's terrible. The Niners lost the Super Bowl.
And we're off to a tasteful start already, I see. Fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
2 weeks we have been doing a best ever pay-per-view series where people that we and eventually the listeners put together their best card from the main roster. So you're talking about world titles, IC title, the whole score. Best ever pay-per-view that you can possibly create using matches that have already happened. And this time we're going to go something that I'm sure quite a lot of us will be very interested in listening to and eventually joining in with later on. We're going to be doing the best ever NXT Takeover. It's quite fit. NXT announced that it will be their 30th ever takeover before SummerSlam. So that'll be NXT Takeover Triple X in association with Vin Diesel. So, I don't know, is anyone desperate to go first? Are they that confident with their card that they want to go first? Or will I explain the rules first? Or
here's the thing, like, yeah, definitely explain the rules, but, like, there are so many wrong answers here, but there are also no wrong answers at the same time. There's an embarrassment of riches with NXT TakeOver, but the biggest problem anyone will have is how to properly order the show.
Yes. It's all about the flow. So, the rules are 6 matches. Because recently, with the introduction of the North American title, we have been getting 6 matches at the takeovers. So the rules are you've got to make sure you don't pick the same wrestler twice. And you have an NXT title match, a women's title match, a tag title match, a North American title match, and 2 random matches in between. So it can be a grudge match, a blood feud, a curtain jerker that took your fancy, perhaps even certain titles from other NXTs that I won't give too much away. I'm sure some of us might have something like that, and if not in this episode, then the next one. So 6 matches in all, 4 titles and 2 random ones. So who wants to go first? Caleb, do you want to go since you're the guest?
You know, I will gladly take that invitation to get us started. So you want me to just start running through them?
Go for it. So
all right.
Give us your feelings and your justifications.
Absolutely. So to open this best takeover ever, we'll call it NXT Takeover The Ultimate Wash, because the final wash, whatever. Anyway, opening person for the NXT Tag Team Championship, I have the Revival against American Alpha from TakeOver Dallas. And this may not be the best. This is definitely not the best tag team match in NXT history, but the other guys in the other match are going to be on the card later. So I had to figure out something. But that being said, this match was still very, very good. And again, just being there live, seeing the title win in person, that's why this match went on my list.
Right. I remember, obviously, 2016, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
That was, frankly, a ridiculous year for the Revival in general, but the Tag Team Championship matches in that year, and there might be other ones on that year which are better, but I can't argue with that one. That was a great match on quite an underrated pay-per-view, to be honest. Ricky?
Yeah, I agree. I love the American Alpha and Revival stuff. I can't remember, I don't know if this was that match, but where kind of they were both in a submission, the Revival were both in a submission at the same time, and they're kind of like trying to stop one another from tapping out and stuff.
That was a different one.
That was the DIY tag match in November of that year.
Right. Yeah, no, but even stuff, like I said, this, for me, when I think of great NXT tag team wrestling, I think these 2 teams are probably at the top of the list. Like, I know Undisputed Era and DIY Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain, Undisputed Era against just about anyone in the face, really, you can talk about. But like I said, I think when you talk about tag teams that have graced the NXT ring, like, for me, these 2 are at the very, very top of it. It's and I think when you just sit and think about it, like, how great American Alpha could have actually been.
I know.
Obviously, Jason Jordan went the singles route, but obviously no one could have predicted the injury, and Revival were just kind of horrible booked ever since they got into the quote-unquote main roster. But yeah, like, these 2 for me are the top of the mountain when it comes to NXT tag teams.
So after that, I wanted to, because I looked at my card and I have a lot of faces going over. So I thought, okay, when do I want to put the heel going over on? And this is where I went with, from TakeOver New York, for the NXT United Kingdom Championship, or the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Walter against Pete Dunne, or Walter. Pardon me. But yeah, this was interesting to see because you'd had Pete Dunne as NXT or UK champion for nearly 2 years at the time, and just to see him just get manhandled, it would put you in a state of shell shock if you didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm. Ricky, that's one of your favourite matches ever, is it not?
No, it's not my favourite match ever, but I think it's, for me, I remember that, and I say that was by far the best match of WrestleMania weekend. And there was a couple of real good matches that weekend. I absolutely loved that. We obviously got to watch the rematch in Glasgow, like a month or so later, if it was. Yeah, that's a great pick. I was close to going with that pick, but I couldn't because I had Pete Dunne in a different match. But yeah, that's one of the absolute very best, I think. Not just NXT UK matches, but NXT matches, period. Mm-hmm. I think that stands up against just about everything you've seen in NXT.
There were two moments in that match that sort of summed up both of the performance at their best. It was when Pete Dunne, he's all about his character work, and there was a bit where I think he might have hit the bitter end, and Walter kicked out, and Pete Dunne just started like getting angry and punching Walter in the head while Walter had kicked out. It's just the frustration in Pete Dunne's face. This was his biggest challenge to date. It had that. There was quite a few UK title challenges on NXT UK. You had the Blackpool Takeover against Joe Coffey. The challenges were getting harder and harder for him, and for it to culminate in this, where it was just too much for him to deal with, and Walter with that powerbomb off the top rope, and it just looked. I know Pete Dunne's a small guy, but I would have accepted if the ring collapsed after that, because that was a monstrous powerbomb, and then the frog splash after it. It was just crazy. It was like King Kong falling off of the Empire State Building. It was just that stunning visual. And as much as I loved Pete Dunne's title reign, I had no issues with who went over at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the biggest reason it was put on my card, is because, like I said, you'd had this reign built up for nearly 2 years, and then you see that switch, and it's just momentous,
Mm-hmm. So what's next?
Next up, for the North American Championship, we are going to, I believe, only the second ever, and I could be wrong, but the second ever 5-star match in NXT history. We were talking about, for the vacant North American Championship, EC3, Adam Cole, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Killian Dane, and Lars Sullivan in a ladder match.
Anything, like, it's one of those ones, do you need to say anything else?
That's the thing. I don't think I do, no.
Ricky?
I can't say anything else because that's my pick of a North American title match. For me, I think, like, there was a couple of like absolute iconic moments. Like, that was obviously Ricochet's debut, and it was such a big deal when he came down. And I absolutely loved Adam Cole and EC3 kind of teaming up, and then EC3 doing the Adam Cole baby chant, but EC3 Cole kind of turns it around, and then he hits that absolute ridiculous super kick on Ricochet as he's coming flying off the top rope as well. Great match, great match.
See, that I was really close to going with Ricochet versus Adam Cole from Brooklyn 4, which was just a few months later that year. But that ladder match was just so amazing, and that's what took it over the top for me, was the ladder match stipulation.
From what I remember, like, I even remember like the two big guys looking like they were looked really strong and really good in it as well.
Yes.
Lars Sullivan and Killian Dane, like, really, that was one of the few times that I've been like thoroughly impressed with Lars Sullivan in the ring.
I've heard he's got pretty good pain tolerance too, but pardon me. Next up,
see with that. In fact, I'll keep my comments since it's Ricky's pick, I'll wait to speak about the NA title match, that ladder match, when it's his turn. So on you go with your next pick.
All right, thank you. Next up for the NXT Women's Championship, we've got... I mean, is there really a second choice here? I'm going with Sasha Banks versus Bayley from Brooklyn.
Yeah. See, even if there is a couple of other choices, I don't think they'll be out with 2015, to be honest with you. There might be a few Asuka fans in there, fair enough, some Shayna Baszler matches that tickled the fancy, but every single takeover in 2015, you had the Fatal 4-Way at the start, Becky and Sasha, which is an outside choice, and I'm heavily considering it myself. But the Iron Women match was good, very good, but can you look anywhere else apart from the Brooklyn match? Just perfect from start to finish.
Yeah. I will say, I was close on going with their Iron Woman match from just a couple months later. I actually just watched that this morning because my nieces were over, and they really wanted to see a women's wrestling match, so we watched that one.
Yeah, well, you can't get any better than that.
Yeah. They were, by the way, they were very appalled when Sasha took Izzy's headband.
That was disgusting. I remember this was back in the time when, well before USA TV deal had happened, so when it came to a week or 2 or 3 before the takeovers, they would start putting the hype packages on the episodes, and the hype package for the Sasha Bayley rematch, that got me pumped every single time. And I remember there was when William Regal had come out to say there was going to be a rematch, and there was utter silence in the Full Sail crowd, because I think they knew about the spoilers or something. They were just waiting for Regal to say main event Iron Woman match, and the place erupted, and it was just such a match. Like, it's up there for me personally with one of the best hype promos, hype videos, and the match was great because there was already that added in story there, but for moments on their own, Brooklyn probably pips it, but only just, I would say. Ricky?
Yeah, this is also my pick, so just echoing everything you both have said, I think that's one of the best women's matches you'll see, and it was, like I said, the story and the arc of it was excellent. Even Sasha's entrance was awesome as well. Everything about the match, was beautiful. Like Bayley's crowning moment in NXT, like a great journey. Awesome. Like, you can't. I think there's maybe one or two you could possibly go. I think you could maybe go Asuka and Ember Moon, but I think general consensus is that this is probably the greatest NXT women's match of all time.
Yeah, and one more thing about the Sasha and Bayley match, because sometimes the crowd will they'll figure out the score, like when they realize, like, oh hey, like our person's winning, they'll just get really excited. When Bayley caught and clinched Sasha for the Bayley to belly, the place erupted.
Yep.
And there was was it Sasha? No. And there was a submission exchange between the two of them, and I think maybe Bayley had reversed the bank statement into her
Bayley
own sort of crossface. And the place erupted then as well. And I think there was a bit where Sasha had been stamping on Bayley's already broken fingers, because that was a thing. She'd broken her fingers. She'd had a feud off and on with Emma leading up to her push. So it was a nice callback there. It was just Sasha was on form. Sasha in 2015 was an absolute joy. So
absolutely,
I want to watch that one again.
Yeah. All right, next up, and I mentioned it, I believe, off the air, and probably also on the air. My biggest problem was going to be how to order these matches, and my semi-main could be in the spot of my main. I'm going with from Takeover New Orleans, which was the only Takeover to have 2 matches on this card, in a blood feud, unsanctioned, for Johnny Gargano's job. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. And I love details, and small details in wrestling. And I'll give you an example. Drake Wirtz, he wasn't wearing the traditional pinstripe referee shirt because this was unsanctioned. He was wearing a black polo with the NXT emblem. That's the first thing I noticed from this match.
He was also wearing probably a MAGA cap as well, knowing his recent tweets.
He may have been as well. But so much about this. Like, we talk about callbacks all the time, and Ciampa at one point, he just looks defeated, but like he doesn't want to fight anymore. Gargano, he probably doesn't want to fight anymore either. And he kind of figures out, like, okay, whatever, we'll give this a chance, but if Ciampa tries anything, we got him. Of course, Ciampa tries to swing his knee brace at Gargano. It doesn't quite work out. And the thing of beauty for sure. Watching Ciampa tap out with the knee brace wrapped around his head. Oh, and one more spot that I really love. There was a powerbomb bump to the floor, to the exposed floor, that immediately gets a "you deserve it" chant. Like, that's when you know you have heat.
There was a couple of spots in that match, and it was like the whole storyline stuff, the callback to the Cruiserweight Classic when they both sat down. I really loved that. But there were two moves that you don't really see that often. First one was a suplex off the commentary table onto the floor. I mean, usually they get suplexed onto the table or through it, but it's rare that you see someone get suplexed off it, so that was quite a visual. And I might be getting matches mixed up. This might have been in their street fight, so correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a bit where Tommaso Ciampa put Johnny Gargano through the commentary table without taking off the monitors and the headphones and stuff. And when you think about it, that's what a heel would do. They wouldn't clear the table to make it a safer landing. Just small things like that. That's one of the reasons that I love Ciampa so much. The small detail that he puts in. But I'm not surprised that this match is on. I think there's going to be these two New Orleans matches going to pop up now and again. What say you, Ricky?
Yeah, I agree. Is this not the match where Ciampa with the wedding ring?
No, that
was the Chicago one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Either Chicago or
Brooklyn.
The Last Man Standing.
Well, this is also my pick. I was initially going to go Chicago, but I think this was the best match out of the three. I wouldn't say it tailed off or anything, but I think this was definitely the best match of the three, and I think it was the most hyped moment and most anticipated moment, because it has been 18 months or something in the making. Unbelievable, really, really hard hitting, just exactly what you want in a blood feud and an unsanctioned match. Just two guys literally trying to kill one another, end each other's career. That's what you want in it. You're not after pretty wrestling or anything. You're just after two guys trying to legit murder one another.
For any regular listeners of the show, you'll know that there's times when we've watched something and I have to text Ricky and say, you need to watch this match now. And it was actually their Cruiserweight Classic match, and it was the first time I'd seen the powerbomb, but it was like a lung buster where the powerbombs
on the apron.
No, it was when he powerbombs Gargano's back onto his knees.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember. And I remember I watched that coming home from work on the train in a ram-packed, standing up, packed in like sardines, and I remember texting you and saying, what the fuck, what am I watching? It was excellent.
It has its detractors, that feud, and I understand why, but the early days of it were fantastic. They really were.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. So, again, like I said, that could have been my main, but what I went through the traditional route, put the world title on last, and, personal bias is very much a real thing. But that being said, I do feel this is probably the best told story in one single match that NXT has ever produced. This was when Sami Zayn put his career on the line against Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship at our Evolution. Mm-hmm. That was back. And the weirdest thing about that show is the name.
The colon.
Yes, because it's
R:(Evolution.
That was bizarre.
Yeah, but I mean, that being said, again, hosted my favorite NXT match ever. Again, personal bias is a very real thing. But, for the past year, you built up Sami Zayn's good, but he's just can't get to that next level. He doesn't have that killer instinct that you need. And Neville said the exact same thing. And they tease a couple of times where Sami Zayn could have cheated, very nearly cheated. And at one point, he gets the belt from Neville with the ref knocked down. He looks at the belt. He's about to use it. Then he says, F this, which, by the way, you're not going to see on the network or on DVD because they have had to edit the crap out of this.
Have they?
Sami Zayn likes to curse a lot. Yeah. 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 After he wins, too, he's yelling like, I'm the effing NXT champ. And, again, crowd cuts, too, because you can't be showing that. Yeah, and again, I told you, I mentioned it before, sometimes when the crowd knows like they're about to get their moment, they'll just, euphoria will wash over them.
Mm-hmm.
And when Zayn hits the haluva kick for that last time, that 1, 2, 3, the place explodes, man. It may have only been 300 people, but it may as well have been 3 million.
I think that match has been forgotten about because you've had your Adam Cole stuff, your Gargano matches, your Almas and stuff like that, but that should be on lists personally. Sometimes NXT do Pro Wrestling 101. They had it with Rhea Ripley winning the title in December. They had it with Sasha Banks. There have been a couple of other occasions, and I think Sami Zayn and Neville was the first iteration of that, where they just get it perfect. There's no fault in the match at all. There's no fault in the story, who went over and how they went over. So it might be a spoiler as to what mine might be, might not, but super pick.
Yeah, and one more thing, like you had your awesome moves for the moves fans out there. Like you had Sami Zayn doing that diving DDT through between the middle and bottom rope. You have that in there too. I
forgot all about that move. Just being off tail.
And he took a Frankensteiner.
That's right.
And you don't see Frankensteiners all that often.
I forgot that his career was on the line as well.
It was, yeah.
This was actually, Ricky, this was my first ever time I'd ever seen NXT. So that's a nice way to start.
And this obviously led to, he ultimately lost it to Owens. Was it like
2 months later?
I was going to say like 60 or so days later. Well, I may as well say it as well. This is also one.
This is going to be a short episode.
We did not coordinate this. I swear.
Have 4 of the same 6 matches. I would just echo what everyone else have said. Again, similar to Sasha and Bayley in the sense that like the arc and the story where it took Bayley to finally get over the hump, and she was like, we always say is like the female version of John Cena. Well, Sami Zayn's also like an NXT equivalent to that, where like great guy, good guy. As Caleb says, could have cheated his way, but didn't. Done it the quote unquote the babyface way, the right way. And like you said, sometimes even when you anticipate a moment's about to happen, as Caleb says, like euphoria still overcomes you, and you still like, I don't care if I knew that was going to happen. Like you're still overjoyed with the moment.
See, because I know freak occurrence that 4 of your matches equal each other, but I'm overjoyed to hear that Sami Zayn and Neville has got some love straight away in this wee series that we're doing. Because, as I say, there's recency bias. You've had Gargano Cole, you've had Gargano Almas, probably a couple of other ones off the top of that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's good that we've went back right into the NXT's archives and pulled out this belter.
Well, if you put Caleb Baldwin on a podcast, you're going to get some Sami Zayn love.
I don't fault it at all. I'm a big Sami Zayn fan myself as well. Did you see his tweet the other day? He congratulated Cesaro and Nakamura and said, "Congratulations, guys! Now we're all champions."
That's great.
It's a shame. Like I think we've seen the absolute very best of Sami.
I think his shoulders
slowly over time, like a lot of his like quote unquote cool moves, or even moves that were just a part of his match to match repertoire, have become redundant now. Like that, as you say, is the DDT. Like I can't remember the last time he won a match. It might have been against AJ, because I think I saw this when he won it with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Like I said, so it is sad, because I think there was a period where he was, I think, the top 2 or 3 wrestler in that company. And it's just a shame. Like he says, he's like he should have been treated better, especially on the main roster. But yeah, like, I think injuries have now just caught up with him, and unfortunately, I think we have seen the best of him. But when he was at his best, like very few people were near him, and I include like his real life best friend and KO in that as well. Like, I still think at their absolute best, I still think Sammy was that little bit better in ring wise anyway. But I think also Sammy's shown he's like a great babyface, but he was also, little did we know how great of a heel he could become.
I know that shocked me. Not so much shocked me, just how easily he was able to do it because he was such a good babyface. So
it's similar with Bayley, like we thought, what the hell he's done here, but she's actually shown that she can play the heel character.
I think it took her a bit of time to get there, though.
Oh, definitely. But I think that's when you don't do something that maybe isn't as natural to you, or something you've never really done before. Like, you need to figure stuff out, like, iron out the kinks and stuff before you ultimately get to a point where you're like, right, I feel comfortable, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, I know how to work differently, I know what to do, etc.
Because those first few months with Bayley as a heel were miserable days. Yeah. But now she's great fun. So this might end up a short episode, but feel free to add your own stuff. What I will say beforehand is there's going to be a couple of these episodes, and we might do another poll again to see what listeners think is the best. And it might just be that the choice is chosen by people down to like one or two matches, especially if so many of them cross over. I mean, that's going to be the case with these takeovers. We knew that before going in. So you're basically looking at your NA title matches or women's title matches and stuff like that. So it could be interesting to see how people differentiate.
Yeah. And I think you'll probably get a good idea of that when you compare mine and Caleb's cards, because like I said, there's only two different. We've got two different matches, and I think, and if we do put out to vote, like, see at the end of the day, like as Caleb says, was an embarrassing of riches. We're just never ever going to have a bad pay-per-view here on NXT. Like, we just can't. Like, even if you turn around and say, well, you take 5 of the, if you base on, like, if you take the last, say, half dozen takeovers, and you say you take the worst match on every single on those cards, and that's your pay-per-view, well, you would still be like, do you know what? That was still a pretty solid enough pay-per-view. Like, maybe not like mind-blowing, but I think some of the worst NXT takeover matches, you're probably looking at, like, say, like a 3-star match, and it's like, well, yeah, it's nothing to write home about, but still solid matches, and you'd be like, well, that was a decent pay-per-view. So yeah, like I said, I think just in terms of quality of the cards, it's just like we thought the cards were amazing last week. Well, these cards are going to be ridiculously better. I
know. You just beg for a playlist option on your network now to watch them in that order. Get the popcorn out for that. So, Ricky, I know some of yours have been picked, but feel free to add to them and what your order is going to be as well.
Yeah, so I did say, by the way, I'm going to keep popping on and off the screen because I've got it in my notes.
That's fine.
I said I would make it up as I go along, so I'm going to open it up with the North American match, the 6-man ladder match. I said, and we'll probably get through mine pretty quickly, because, I know, Clive, you said you wanted to say something about this match, so I'll let you say it now.
Right, see, recently how the network's been doing all these best-ofs, and they put up a best of Adam Cole recently, so I started watching that, and they had the first War Games match. I thought, that's actually better than I remember, and then it was the NA title match. And I was surprised because I didn't think it was as amazing as it was lauded at the time. So that might be a controversial choice. I think I wouldn't be picking it for my North American title match. It might be the best one we've had, but I think there are a couple of other ones that are better if you're just looking at single stuff. And there's going to be one or two of those people that are in that match that I want to use elsewhere, because I know now what my Blood Feud match will be. There was a lot of I don't know. It just felt as if it was quite plodding at times, and I know that's really bizarre.
Oh, really?
I know you're listening to me think, what the hell's he talking about? But there was a lot of just walking about, and then I can't really put into words how kind of almost nonplussed I was watching it on rewatch. Have any of you watched it again recently?
Not recently, but I know I've watched it a good couple of times. Right, and I remember saying this actually at the time of the recording, and I kid you not. So if you went back, and you don't need to go back, but I'm 99% sure that what I says at the time was I must have, while watching it the next day, I must have watched that Adam Cole EC3 moment, like, I'm not joking, like 6-7 times in a row. Like, I watched it and I rewound it, because when Adam Cole on his Adam Cole baby and everyone joins in, like, my wife was sitting next to me. So, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." And I just might have done it a few times, and then she actually like looked up and goes, "Who is that guy? Like, everyone seems to love him." And I'm like, "Well, she doesn't have a clue about." If you asked her about wrestling, she would be like, "Oh, is Hulk Hogan fighting the Undertaker?" Well, in a Super Showdown card, maybe, or a Saudi card. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's her knowledge of wrestling. So, and if someone who's not a wrestling fan can turn around and see, like, well, clearly the crowd loved this guy for a reason, well, there must be something about him. I don't know, for me, there was a lot of, like, unique moments there. Like I said, I loved the EC3 and Adam Cole moment, Ricochet debuting. A lot, like I said, Lars Sullivan looked really good. I'm surprised at your analysis there, I really am.
I don't know if it was timing, because I'd just watched the War Games, and I'm a big, like, that's probably my favourite match, the modern version of the War Games that we've been seeing on Takeovers recently. And I just love the format, I love the rules, I love the chaos at the end. So maybe that seeing the ladder match right after it, when I'd already been wiped out with epic violence, I don't know. I'm probably being too harsh on it. Someone
tell me if I'm wrong. I just don't remember Dream too much in the match.
No.
Is that a fair assessment, or have I just completely overlooked what he brought to the match?
We're not allowed to talk about him anymore.
Yeah, he got cancelled.
Yep. The Dream. We have no memory of the Dream. No, he did the massive elbow drop off the top of a very tall ladder.
That's the only thing I really seem to remember.
Mm-hmm. There was a good bail-off between Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan. But it was just, see, because you had two big guys in it and Lars Sullivan, it was just, there was a few imploding moments, and it seemed as if it was a sort of struggle to get the eventual winner at the end. I'm probably being harsh, and people are listening thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? But that's my opinion. I know. I'm nothing but surprises. Caleb, what are your thoughts on that hot take?
I mean, I'm an American, so you're entitled to your opinion.
Right, I'm now struggling with the match order. I know what my last 2 or 3 are going to be.
It's everything in between, huh?
I don't know if I can go, like, back to back, like, basically no DQ matches, can I? I don't think I can.
Right, I went back-to-back career steps, so you can imagine.
I know, but at least they were like wrestling matches, you know?
Yeah.
Right, so here we go. I'm going to go with my tag title match. And it was actually from just this year. In my opinion, I think perhaps the best, I must, obviously if I'm putting this on, I think it's definitely in the top 2 anyway, NXT tag title matches, or NXT tag match. I went for Undisputed Era versus the Broserweights from Portland.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to go, and I thought, and I was going to until I realised I couldn't, because partly I don't know if it was even if it was a title match, but it was on NXT normal. Remember, it was Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was just a regular. That was just a. I don't think that was a title match.
They did. They did a rematch on. I think it was Brooklyn 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think the TV match was actually the better of the two, in my opinion. But yeah, I went with Pete Dunne.
Yeah, and it was the UK tournament match as well. They had.
Yep. So I went with that for my tag title match. Obviously, we knew like this was that was part of the tournament. I was I think me and Clive were both desperate for grizzled young veterans to win it.
Oh, aye.
And like Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle kind of just get thrown together, but they worked. Like even how they are, like character wise, like it worked really, really well. I absolutely love this match. Yeah, and I think I always say, specifically what I spoke about in my last pay-per-view thing was like, do these matches stand the test of time? Like I spoke about Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, and I think this will stand the test of time, and I think this measures up against any kind of tag match NXT has and probably will produce.
Caleb?
Yeah. This... Man, wrestling has been a blur for me in 2020, believe it or not. But yeah, this match, I mean, I immediately, as soon as you said it, I remembered, like, yeah, I love the Broserweights, and this match was awesome. And how many fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? So, as someone who loves the Broserweights, I certainly like that you included this one. It completely slipped my mind. I'm going to be truthful. It slipped my mind when I was making my list, but I do like that this was included.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm very surprised to see this make it, but you really can't go wrong with an Undisputed Era tag team title match. There's a select few that they're not as great as the others, and personally my favourite tag team out of the four of them would be Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, but if you pick any Undisputed Era tag title match, I'm not going to fault it at all. I remember the Broserweights, their favourite match for me was against Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster on that's short list for TV match of the year for me. That one, just unbelievable stuff. But surprised, but not. I'm twisting the meme. I'm surprised, but not disappointed.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll move on. So I think, just to keep the suspense going, I will keep the one other match I've got different from Caleb, and I'll put that on second last.
Okay.
So next up, I'm going to go Sasha versus Bayley.
Okay.
Brooklyn. Now, we already spoke about it. Let's say the other match I did consider was Asuka and Ember Moon.
Yeah.
Couple of other ones I thought about was the Horsewomen's Fatal 4-Way match.
Lovely.
Like again, I think there's absolutely no explanation needed why me and Caleb have both gone with Sasha and Bayley here.
No.
Mm-hmm. And there's, like Brian had said earlier, there's really no wrong answer if you picked anything from 2015 with the women.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there was a Bayley Nia Jax match at London that year, so...
Oh, yeah, there is one wrong answer, actually. Yeah, never mind.
That's my random match as well. So next up, I will just go with my blood feud being Ciampa Gargano from New Orleans.
Put this on fourth?
Listen to the disgust in the voice there.
Yes, because I could have put it on second last, but I've intentionally just kept my second last match because I just wanted to keep the suspense going, and I would never put this match on last on this card because I'm a firm believer, as I've always says, the title match goes on last.
That classic Triple H philosophy.
Unless the situation really calls for it. And did this match closed, or was it the Chicago match that closed? I can't remember which one closed.
Gargano and Ciampa, they closed every takeover they were on.
Right.
Together.
So I suppose you could factor that into being exceptional circumstances, but yeah, for me, no, my title match goes on last. So I'll move on. This is my random other match. NXT UK title match. Before I name it, I was awfully tempted to go Sami Zayn and Nakamura.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awfully tempted. I joked with Rance the other night. I was like Nakamura's only good match ever in WWE. But I am going Walter and Tyler Bate from Cardiff.
Amazing.
Oh, right, okay.
I can't remember if I preferred this match or the Pete Dunne match. But if I'm honest, even at the time, I'm not sure what I say. And even now, when I think about it, I can't tell you which one my favourite is. I think if I had to, I might lean towards this one. But you're really talking about, who was the best quarterback in the NFL when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were at their absolute peak of their powers? There isn't a right and wrong answer there. The right answer was Brady, but anyway. But yeah, I'll go with this one. I thought this match was absolutely fantastic. There was a moment in it where I was a bit I can't remember which moment, but I remember it was towards the end, and I was do we need to see that? It's a bit over the top. It maybe went on a few minutes too long, but I think I'm just kind of really just trying to, I'm what's the saying? Nitpicking here, making mountains a molehill. I thought it was just a fucking flawless match, in my opinion.
I forgot that we were going to add UK takeovers as well, so it was nice to see that on. Like you, I think I prefer the Pete Dunne match, but I don't know if it's like you, but I prefer the Pete Dunne match, but that's just because I'm a Pete Dunne mark. So there is bias there, since we're a fan of bias on the show here. A wee bit long, but it was an epic belter. I can't really fault it again. Another solid pick. Caleb, your thoughts?
This reminded me of any match Walter would have with David Starr, except unlike David Starr, Tyler Bate isn't a complete phony. So
yes.
I'm glad this was included.
Tyler Bate's just a bit horny and likes married women, apparently.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, a bit frisky, as it were.
Whereas David Starr's just a monster.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a piece of shit. I mean, if you want, we can veer off from this and just start just going to have a segment where we just give David Starr shit. I don't mind that.
I mean, oh gee, we could be here for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we could. Right, title match always closes on my pay-per-views, and it's the same as Caleb's.
Yep.
Sami Zayn versus Neville. I'm not going to lie. When Caleb said this, I was kind of disappointed.
Because you wanted to drop the bomb. I get
yes, because I was kind of I need one or two matches that people are going to be oh my god, I forgot how great that was, or not try to be niche or kind of different, but I think that's what some of my I went with Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, and I don't know if anyone else had that, and I was a bit that's maybe that will people will suddenly remember that match, and but like I said, I was hoping no one would say this match, but we spoke about it extensively. Great match. This is one, and I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it. It stands the test of time. It's up there with the other great. It's up there with Finn versus KO. That one they had out in. What was that? Was it when they had it in Japan? I can't remember the name of the takeover, what that was called.
Beast in the East.
Yes. Alongside all these great Adam Cole and Gargano matches and etc. So this is still, one of the absolute best, not just NXT title matches, but one of the best NXT matches you would have seen.
And not only that, the reason I took this over some of the more recent matches, whether it was Cole Gargano Ciampa, whatever the case may be, even Gargano Almas, which I loved, those matches always felt a little finisher kick-outy to me, you're kicking out of too much here, whereas Zayn and Neville, nobody kicked out of a finisher. Someone might have grabbed a rope, but nobody kicked out of a finisher. These moves were very well protected.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's one of my big bugbears with wrestling. That what you literally just said. In certain moments in matches, people
for
should be able to
example,
kick out.
Like the Angle Slam before TNA, the Angle Slam was pretty much revered, and then he spends like a decade in TNA letting everyone and their brother kick out of it, and it's just like, not what it was,
And now it's a transition move for Roderick Strong.
Yeah, and like there's certain, and even a super kick, how that's just become just part of people's arsenal now. Even like I hated it when I saw people kicking out of the tombstone. Yeah. Very rarely should that have happened. Like when Shawn Michaels kicked out of it at WrestleMania, you're like, okay, I don't have an issue with that, because even Taker sold it perfectly. Like I've just always had an issue with people, like kicking out of big time finishers, and like remember how long when Brock ultimately was just putting people away with just one F5. Well, so he should. Like, so he fucking should. Like, it's the most devastating wrestler, like the most, like, and I don't really care, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent, I don't give a shit what anyone says, right? And I know a couple of people out there will agree with me, and I know Josh has the same belief, that Brock's one of the absolute fucking best wrestlers we have ever seen. Like, I think people forget just how great he was in his first run, and even now, like, I still maintain, and I think he is, if not the best, then one of the top 3 or 5 sellers in the world. Like, he sells really, really well. So yeah, sorry, I just went off there, but yeah, finishers have to be protected more, and it's just like, you can't just let that become just another move, and no.
I mean,
completely agree with that.
My blood boils every time Adam Cole hits a Canadian Destroyer for a near fall.
Again, that's just another fucking and I know people probably thought the super kick was a Young Bucks dig. Well, the Usos also fucking use it like every opportunity they get, and we love the Usos. But talking about the Canadian Destroyer, that one we saw last week in that the tag team match with the Bucks and Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, that spot was fucking horrific. Horrific.
I didn't mind that one.
Sorry?
I didn't mind that one. It was the week before. The one the week before, I thought, they're just the somersault thing onto the heads, the other ones. Like, you could have crushed someone's head doing that. 2 heads.
No, do you know what my problem with the Canadian Destroyer from the top rope was? Not that you'd done it, because the fact that you'd done it, I'm like, Jesus, man, like you're just so impressed every single week. But it's the fact that it was Nick, or was it Matt? I can't remember. I think was it? I can't remember who took the body move now. I think it was Nick or Matt that took it. And Nick is holding like them steady as they're getting up to the top rope, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, yes, we're trying to make sure it goes okay and we're trying to be safe, but what the fuck are you doing? like seriously, like, we're not that daft. We see it happening. You're actually physically holding your partner in place, and it's like, gee, like, wrestling's like real, isn't it?
That's almost as insulting as like when Del Rio had the foot stomp gimmick, and wrestlers would hold the ropes up as they're supposed to be like knocked
terrible.
down.
That was so bad. Yes. And I think in the last woman standing match, Mike Chioda was holding on to Becky Lynch so she could powerbomb Charlotte without falling at the end.
I vaguely remember that, actually.
I know, like you guys are in your 30s, I'm in my 20s, and this sounds like really old man yelling at cloud, but like, this energy needs to be released and exercised from me, that's all.
Oh, definitely. Like, we've been kind of positive, but there's just some things that just need to be called out. And it doesn't matter if it's NXT or WWE or AEW. When something looks like shit, you just need to say, call us and be like, that's shit.
If you want to get these hot moves out, do them on the outside. So that way I won't feel so insulted if someone kicks out.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are getting sick of them, but I love a Canadian Destroyer. I can't get enough of them. And
Look,
the Jurassic
Williams
Express
only
one,
had like one guy ever kick out of the thing.
The Jurassic Express one, I know there was a lot of setup, and I can't remember how the pin was broken after it, if it was. I just enjoyed the visual of it, but the one the week before with Pentagon doing it, I thought, or Phoenix, that's just a mess. That's not.
Yeah, I'll show you a good one. I'll send it to y'all on Twitter. Trey Miguel did one this weekend at Slammiversary that was amazing.
Right. One thing that was funny about the Jurassic Express one was that the people, I think it was Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, they fell even though they were outside on the ramp. It's like, why did you fall? Anyway.
Yes. Since we're pretty much done and we're moving on to quiz, Caleb mentioned Slammiversary. Were you disappointed at all, Caleb?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No. Initially, with the reveal of who the mystery opponents were in the main event, I was, but then I was able to reconcile when the guy who I wanted to show up, EC3, actually did show up at the end. But the show was great. Doing the empty arena thing, even with no plants, like, it's kind of hard, but Impact does it about as best as you can, all things considered.
Yep.
The Motor City Machine Guns, they may only be 38 and 37, but they're really old in wrestling years, but they haven't lost a step.
Mm-hmm.
That seeing them just took me back to like mid-thousands, or when TNA at the time was just at its absolute best. Like they were awesome. I love seeing them. My only issue is, and this is just a general kind of issue, and I can get why you would do it. I'd get it. I would have kept the Good Brothers. I know it was kind of like everyone knew of it. I would have just kept it quiet. Like this is where I'm so different. This is where I'm like, I don't think about ratings and to drum up more interest, because I'm like, no, just surprise me. So I get why you would announce people beforehand, but I love the element of surprise.
Well, you can blame.
I would have loved to have kept that as a surprise, but that says that I understand why you would do stuff like that.
You can blame our pal Gary Cassidy for that one, because it was him that broke the exclusive.
It broke it. Yep.
And also, and it's been kind of divisive, but from me personally, if you can find a way to watch the North against Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan from this weekend, absolutely do it. I was very much thoroughly entertained.
I will hold my hands up. I wasn't a big fan of Sami Callihan until we saw him at ICW's version of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and I was thoroughly entertained with him. He's good. He's good to hate live.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah, he's a classic dirty bastard.
Yeah,
yes.
He really gets the crowd against him, gets them invested. So fair play to him. So I think that gives us to a natural conclusion. Just to sort of run those pay-per-views by you again. Caleb's first.
But you don't want to talk about Eye for an Eye?
Why would I?
Do you know what? See, it was like the finish was always going to be shit. So I think no matter what they produced, people were still going to be like, that was fucking terrible. Because the match itself was pretty decent, but like I said, it could have been the greatest wrestling match ever, but it wouldn't have mattered because the finish was always going to be like, that guy just lost, quote unquote, lost his eye.
I enjoyed the match part of it.
Apart from the actual finish.
I had to laugh at Seth Rollins though, being sick. That was good fun.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like, oh man, did they use clam chowder or what did they use to have him fake throw up?
I know, it was quite a horrendous colour.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about anything else, or will I get things going for the quiz?
Yeah, I don't really watch much of this past Sunday anyway, so...
Well, Drew McIntyre match, that's the best WWE title match I've seen since Kofi and Bryan, so I had that going for it. I quite enjoyed most of the pay-per-view. I didn't watch the Swamp Fight, had no interest in it. Like literally none. I just skipped it and fast forwarded.
The problem is, right, the Swamp thing, is you've done it the wrong way around, in my opinion. Like, I get now the Fiend is a big boss that he's going to face at SummerSlam and ultimately probably lose to.
Mm-hmm.
Should have been the other way around, in my opinion. It should have been the Fiend now, and the big boss should have been the return of Bray Wyatt.
That's just because you're how many times have you watched that promo now?
I've quite a lot.
Dude, I've never liked Swamp Cult leader Bray Wyatt. I love the Fiend.
Oh, you've hit a nerve there.
Sorry, Ricky.
Here's the thing, right? I have never said like his in-ring ability is, Daniel Bryan or anything like that.
He's a solid
I've
wrestler.
always just loved the character, and I always remember his stuff in NXT and his stuff, his promos when he first came up. I was like, this is so different. But obviously, at some point, the promos mean nothing because you don't win big feuds. It was the same with Joe. Joe's like could go toe to toe with anyone in the mic, but it's like that's a great promo, but you're going to lose. Like, we all know you're losing, so I don't take you serious now, which is kind of shit because the stuff with all his promos with AJ, and remember the promo that he came and cut when who was in the ring? Was it Randy, Mustafa Ali? I think Daniel Bryan was there.
Jeff Hardy was there because he had the sick Jeff Hardy line.
Oh, yes. Sit quiet in the corner like this is an AA meeting.
Oh, yeah. Dear.
Maybe Randy Orton was just kind of like laughing away.
Yeah.
And even his stuff, like a promo that I had with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So Joe was great on the mic, but like I said, it's the same with Bray. At some point, you've got to give them big wins, like not even just a big one, but like consecutive big wins for people to be like start taking them serious.
Yeah. I challenge you though, go back and watch his promos from summer 2017 after he won the title shot. Like, watch that one with Paul Heyman. Watch the one the night after he lost the title shot. Because he has such a great line. He's like, "Aren't we living in a wonderful fantasy land?"
Yep.
Love it.
And Joe was great.
Yeah.
Joe was... I actually might go back and watch some of that old Impact TNA stuff with the X Division title, like Joe Daniels and AJ and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking miss those days.
Yeah, it's worth your time, man.
Oh, they were great.
You've got such a reminiscing look on your face right now, Ricky.
Because it was awesome. And then when Kurt Angle went there as well, like Angle's debut, badass, where he headbutt Joe and Joe pops back up and he's bleeding and you're like, oh.
I watched that the other day, actually. That was sensational stuff.
It lays the title down in the middle of the ring and it's like, that's the line. Come cross it if you want.
The world's...
Impact was fucking great.
It was back in the day. I will admit I've not seen much of Impact recently, but
I'll watch.
Mid 2000s was excellent. Right, so just to clarify what Caleb and Ricky had. Caleb had American Alpha versus Revival, Volta versus Pete Dunne, Ricochet, Cole, EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, the ladder match at New Orleans, Sasha Banks and Bayley at Brooklyn 1, Gargano and Ciampa, the unsanctioned match, and Sami Zayn versus AJ Neville. Ricky had the same ladder match, Undisputed Era versus Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle for the tag titles at Portland, Sasha Bayley again, Gargano Ciampa again, Volta versus Tyler Bate for the UK title in Cardiff, and Sami Zayn and AJ Neville. So those are the two. Myself, and hopefully once we get everything sorted, Rance Morris will return to the show for the first time in quite a while. We'll go over our takeovers and then we'll see what we'll do. We might get another guest on or two, we don't know, but if not, we'll do some listener ones. Yeah,
we spoke about a guest, and I don't think neither of us have reached out to that guest as yet.
No, but we
probably should do that soon.
Aye, we should. Right.
See if he's actually available. By the way, off the top of my head, like I was tempted to also go Grizzled Young Vets versus Mustache Mountain from Blackpool 1 as my random. Thought it was great, and I was there live. I thought it was great.
Aye, don't you worry, we'll be talking about that one soon, ladies and gents. Right, quiz time.
Yep.
Right, Ricky, you've got the quiz for us this week. Before we start quizzing ourselves and doing some wrestling tests, let's talk about our testes and why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released a new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. The third generation trimmer, so you're talking like Randy Orton, The Rock, all those chaps and chapettes. The third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin safe technology. I can attest to that. It was a very smooth experience. I'm feeling a wee bit itchy now and again, mind you, but that's usually the case. In terms of actual sort of nicking accidents and blood and guts and all that shit, manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. I can tell you this is a premium service, and I mean premium, because if you've got a lot of bush down there, the battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can have a longer shave. The water-resistant technology allows you to groom in the shower. Why you'd want to do that when it's all matted and stuff like that, I don't know. I think you need a dry pube, personally speaking. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. Also, I can attest to that. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 revs per minute motor with quiet stroke technology. And let's not forget about that charging stand. Sleek, beautiful. Show your mower off loud and proud, because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. Although I have to say, America, your plug sockets with your two prongs, it's almost as bad as spelling colour without the U. So if you're listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand, because I finally did experience it firsthand, and it works a treat. And it also came to my rescue when my normal day was the Lawnmower 3.0 to sort of tidy up my face. I can confirm that I did tidy and clean and sanitise the lawnmower before using on my face. I don't have any sort of puberona virus or anything like that. So make sure, trim that junk of yours and get 20% off plus free shipping if you go to manscaped.com and put in the Suplex as the promo code. Believe me, your balls and your chin, and maybe some other people's chins, well, thank you.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz.
I hope.
Yes, I do. Let me just.
Is it an Edge quiz?
But I actually didn't finish doing the quiz, so it's only going to be 8 questions. So if we finish 4 each, I'll think of a question on the spot.
What is the theme of the quiz? NXT? Good. Caleb, what's your buzzer again?
Oh,
I'm going to go with dummy yeah this time.
And mine's is it's true, it's damn true.
Right, so question number 1.
I remember that Caleb had a brutal memory last time, so I may as well just...
Yes, he absolutely annihilated me, and it was like stuff that was like, I don't even remember any of that. Like, who was this random commissioner that appeared at Raw in 1999 on...
It wasn't that
what
vague.
The fuck?
What colour of tie did they wear?
I don't even stood a chance. Right, here we go. So if I ever have another Ricky and Clive quiz invitational, Caleb will be on it this time. Right, question 1. At which takeover did KO beat Sami Zayn for the title?
Oh, it's true, it's damn true.
Oh my goodness, that was... I can't pick, so both of you just say your answer at the same time on 3, because it was close. 1, 2, 3.
Rival.
Takeover rival.
Correct.
Okay.
1 point each. Same pay-per-view. Who competed in the number 1 contenders match the same night?
Dummy, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
This was Finn Balor and Adrian Neville.
Correct.
Here we go.
Same pay-per-view.
Very good match, that one.
Yes.
Yep. Same pay-per-view. Who won the women's title match?
Oh,
Dummy,
it's true, it's damn true.
Caleb again.
Sasha Banks.
Correct. Question number 4. Whose title reign lasted longer?
You love these questions.
Shayna's second reign or Asuka's reign?
Dummy, yeah.
Yep.
Asuka.
Correct by something like 100 days.
Really?
Yep. And she had to forfeit. Question number 5. Andrade Almas beat who in his debut
Dummy,
takeover
yeah.
match?
Ty Dillinger.
Correct. Question number 6. What I might do... Oh, in fact, we'll see how it goes. How many different wrestlers have held the NXT Championship?
Dummy, yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yep.
Give me 1 second here. I'm going to say, this is a guess, I'm going to say 15.
It's incorrect. Clive?
18.
How many?
18.
It's also incorrect.
What is it then?
I'll allow you to have one more guess each.
First 16.
One buzzes in.
Dummy, yeah.
It's incorrect.
Damn it.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true. 17.
Correct.
I knew it was... I was obviously close with 18. It was 17 or 18, and I was wondering if Keith Lee was the 18th, but 17th.
No. So how many reigns has there been in total?
Oh.
Dummy, yeah.
Yep.
If we have 18 champions, that would be 20 title reigns.
We've got 17 champions.
God damn it.
So that's incorrect. Clive?
19.
That's correct. 19.
Oh, gee.
Wait, let me see it. You've got 1, 2, 1 Caleb, 3, 1 Caleb, 4, 1 Caleb, 1, 2, 4, 3. Right, here we go.
Is this to make it a tiebreaker?
So it's 4, yep, 4, 3. Come on, Caleb. I can't be bothered thinking of another question. Who are the 2 men who have had multiple reigns?
Dummy, yeah.
Yep.
Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Correct.
See, my answer
Caleb
was
is your
going to...
winner.
My answer was going to be Danny Hodge. That was my answer.
Oh, man. Charlie Haas is the true Oklahoma legend.
I've got some word salad on the go here today.
Oh, gee.
Well done, Caleb. Another quiz victory under your belt.
Thank you. You had me really scared with that. And I gave away the total reigns number. I know I did.
You did.
That was a good show. I think we need to figure out how we're going to pick a winner if we do the competition again.
Aye, we'll have a good chinwag about it.
Because I don't even know how you pick who was a better card tonight. I think I know you're probably going to say Caleb's because you weren't impressed with my 2 other matches. Because I think you said you preferred the Pete Dunne match and you were a bit surprised that I went with Undisputed Era and Broserweights.
I prefer the American Alpha and Thingy, so yes, Caleb's was better. Like, objectively better.
Oh well.
But I'm not a fan of the ladder match, so you've both got that against you. Right. So, ladies and gents, if you've enjoyed this episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show this week, be sure to check out the rest of the shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, such as One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Get in the Ring, and All Things Elite. Make sure to give the podcast a 5-star review on the app of your choice, although I believe Apple are quite good with the good old-fashioned algorithms and all that stuff. If you want those podcasts sent directly to your email inbox, then head over to socialsuplex.com and click subscribe. You'll also get the columns that we do there as well. Speaking of columns, you can read my brand extension series over at wrestlingheadlines.com. Usually drops every second Thursday. With regards to other social media stuff, if you go into Facebook, check out the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, drop an invite or request to come into the group and chat along with us with the things all to do with wrestling. And we are at Ricky and Clive on Twitter. If you want to get us a t-shirt, then go over to prowrestlingtees.net. You can get a Ricky and Clive t-shirt and a few other Social Suplex ones. You can also donate directly to the show, give us some pocket money to keep the hardware and software going for the podcasts, and do not forget to make the most of yours or your loved ones' bollocks for 20% off by going over to manscaped.com and using the Suplex promo code at checkout. There you are. So, check out the show notes on this podcast, the wee show notes at the bottom. All your hyperlinks are there for you and yours. Caleb, do you want to give your plugs?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter at IamCalebB. That's IamCaleb and then another B. You can follow my HeroCast. Now, the basic concept of that is me and my friend Eddie, we're reviewing superhero movies, and we're doing it in chronological order. We just recently reviewed the hidden gem of 1990s Captain America, and by God, was it awful.
I remember that.
Yeah, that episode will drop in I think 3 weeks because we bank those.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently started another short form podcast. We do it on Anchor. It's called Shallow Impact. So if you like Impact Wrestling or me or both, you can listen to Shallow Impact on basically any podcasting app of your choice as well.
Yep.
that Captain America film was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Did you see my Facebook story the other day?
I've not even got Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And I'm rarely on Facebook.
Still.
I did post a magic trick on Facebook today.
I saw that on Twitter.
What's your story, Caleb?
Oh, so there's a scene after they give Cap the super soldier serum. This Nazi defector comes in. We don't know he's a Nazi defector yet, but he comes in, he congratulates the doctor. He says, remarkable work, Dr. So-and-so. Extends his hand for a handshake, says, congratulations. Heil Hitler, pulls out a gun, shoots the doctor. Yeah, it's bad.
It does sound it. I remember that being on BBC Two over here and thinking that looked alright, but I imagine if I watched it now, especially compared to Winter Soldier, which was my favourite Marvel film, it would pale in comparison.
You say Winter Soldier is your favourite Marvel film, huh?
Yes.
What do you have going on in about 2 years?
You're talking about your podcast?
Yes, sir.
I have not a love-hate. I have a very much enjoy and very much sometimes don't like relationship with the Marvel films, and I'm not very public with them. I'll say it now and again, but Winter Soldier, that's up there for me. I thought that was excellent.
Yeah, my favourite Marvel film is Henry Cavill and Superman.
Yeah, for sure.
This is going to be...
That's DC, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, see, I don't know shit. I do like that film though. And Caleb's asked me to come on that podcast, and I'm like, I don't even have a clue what any of these films are and I need to try and watch it.
Man of Steel was excellent.
I will.
Watch Blade.
Man of Steel.
Blade?
Yeah, Blade's a Marvel character.
Alright, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. That's why a lot of people thought Black Panther was the first black-led superhero movie to come out.
Oh, right.
I watched Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's... I'm not big on Ant-Man, to be honest with you.
But I'll tell you...
It's the small things in that film I like.
Watches it. Jesus.
I knew as soon as I said I'm not big on Ant-Man that Brian would make a joke.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
I understand.
I've watched Fantastic Four.
Oh, God.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I've watched... Let me see what else. I've obviously watched Man of Steel. I've watched bits of Aquaman. I had to stop watching. I had to stop watching because I was just Jason Momoa's, or however you say his surname, was just too dreamy. I got lost. Yeah, I don't think I've watched much else. I watched Captain America right enough the other day.
Which one?
But I don't even know. The one in from 2011 or something, I think it was.
So the first one.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know about Marvel and DC. Although I have watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the cartoon one, about 1 million times.
Oh, that's very good.
I quite like that one, actually.
I'm guessing the boys have made you watch that one.
Yes, Miles Morales.
Yep.
So, Ricky, anything wrestling you want to say before we go?
No.
Okay.
No.
Caleb, thank you for coming on. It was a joy to speak
Thanks
to you
for
again.
having me.
Ricky, thanks for being here.
As always, I'll be here next week again.
Yep. And ladies and gentlemen, I should apologise for the day late this week. Just wanted to make sure we got Caleb on and this was the night he was available. I'm sure you'll be happy with that. Hopefully back to normal back next week. And we'll speak to you then. Good night.
Take care, folks.
God bless you.
Gesundheit.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.